Alright guys, welcome to another pixelforlife.com video tutorial. Today I'm going to show you guys how to create this basic scene, or at least something somewhat similar to this. Every time you do this it'll be slightly different, but as you can see we have a nice rotating Earth planet with some asteroids around with some nice off effects with lighting and color correction. So guys, let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to go ahead and create a brand new composition, and we'll just name this Space Scene. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and go to this first comp, save it, and just simply get out of it. Now, my project files, guys, there's a couple of things that I have set already. The main one being this image here. I'm going to go ahead and drag that in, and as you guys can see, this thing is massive. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and make this into a 3D layer. Once we've done that, we want to go ahead and push this on the Z position back as far away as we possibly can to about like that, and then we're simply going to scale while holding shift, and we're going to scale that up about like so. Now the reason we want to do that is because we're trying to create 3D space for our scene. So let's go ahead and drop our planet in. We can go over here and create solid, and we're going to call this planet, and then we're going to right click on it, go to effect, down to video, copilot, and element. Now we're going to go to scene setup, and I have this Earth preset which you guys can actually get off of the Video Copilot website. I will put a link in the description below. And let's go ahead and hit OK, and you can see it is now there. Now the first thing that I want to go ahead and do is go to my group 1, or actually my bad, I want to go to World Transform. And my Z position, I simply want to push that back in Z space to about 9100-ish, and then I want to scale that up a little bit so that it fills up a little tiny bit of my scene, about like that. About 4 is probably pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and set up the lights for this scene. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new light. I'm going to call this right planet, and we're going to go ahead and put this intensity at 90%, and we need to go ahead and select the color that we're going for. I'm going to do more of a purplish color like this and hit OK. And as soon as I do that, you'll see it actually drops it right onto my scene. So now we need to adjust the position of this light, and as you can see here, it adjusts on top of the model just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down shift, and I simply want to take this over until a little bit less than half of my planet is actually showing. So about like that. I'm then going to duplicate this light. I'll go ahead and rename this to left light, just like that. And I'm then going to open up the position transform once again, and I'm going to put this one at 0. You'll see here it offsets it to over here, and I can then shift click the other direction, and this one I want to actually get really far away, because the entire goal of this light is simply to create a little bit of a halo effect on the planet. Now I'll go ahead and select both of these, and I then want to adjust them in Z space and put them to where it kind of just puts a little bit of a glow on the outside of that planet, just like that. And then this one here, I'll go ahead and adjust by itself until I have just a little bit of it showing over there. Now this left light, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the intensity. We'll put that down to about 25 because I just want that glow to be a little bit. And this right side one, we'll go ahead and adjust that down to say 70 for now, and we'll hit OK. And that's starting to look halfway decent. Now there is a couple of things we need to do. First thing is we need to hit AA on this, go down to accept lights and turn that to off. And now we're going to go ahead and minimize these two things here. Now our planet, I know that we're going to be wanting to rotate this, so I'm going to go ahead and open up world rotation. I'm going to go ahead and find out the rotation that I'm actually going to want, which is this one here along with this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and set a keyframe for both of these here, go to the end of my composition, and simply rotate that down a little bit, and I'm going to want to rotate it this way about 65%. That way, as you see, when we actually zoom away from the camera, the United States is rotating away from us, just like that. And that's looking pretty good, so I'll go ahead and leave that alone for now. Now, the next thing that I want to do, guys, is I want to actually go ahead and create some foggy mist behind this. So I'm going to go ahead and create solid, and we're just going to put this to mist. We'll hit OK. I'm going to go over to my effects and presets and type in fractal noise. I'm going to drop that onto mist just like that. I'll go ahead and invert this, and I'll go ahead and up the brightness a bit and the contrast as well. And I'll go ahead and up the complexity a bit as well to get some more detail into this thing. And I'm going to go ahead and lower that opacity just a bit. I'm then going to go to my ellipse tool, double click it, that will create a nice mask for me. And I then want to go ahead and bring the expansion for this down to about like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and feather this to where it really just kind of has this nebula effect on the outside. I'll then go ahead and bring this up on all the sides, and I can kind of adjust this the way that I like. So about like that. I'm then going to drop that behind the planet, and I'll go ahead and get rid of that for now. And that's starting to take shape, guys. It's starting to look pretty good. Next step is I want to go ahead and on my mist I want to go to curves, and I want to drop that onto there, and I'll go ahead and just adjust this a little bit. I then want to go to my bluish tones here, and I want to go ahead and up that slightly. Wrong one, I didn't click on the right one. Blues. I want to go ahead and bring a little bit of blue into there, just like that. I'll then go ahead to my greens and add a little tiny bit of green in there. And then finally with my reds, I will adjust that a little bit as well. So something kind of along those lines. Now I'm going to go ahead and also type in tint and drop that onto the mist as well. And the tint color I'm going to be selecting is going to be a purplish tone, so that it kind of resembles purple-ish color. Now the next thing I want to do is go to my planet, and I want to go ahead and go up to layer and down to layer styles and put a outer glow on that. Once the outer glow is on this layer, I'm going to go ahead and expand that down. First thing I want to do is go ahead and select a purple color for it. I will then go ahead and up the size on that to about like so, and I'll go ahead and then lower the opacity down ever so slightly like that. Now the next thing that I want to do, guys, is I want to go ahead and put tint onto this planet, and then I'm going to go ahead and once again go over to my purple color like that, and I'm going to go ahead and lower the amount to tint down to about 50%, just so it kind of looks like it belongs in this scene here. And that's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and drop some curves onto this planet now as well, and that way I can kind of bring out the better side of it, because it still needs to be bluish but not like a ton, and that's also going to lighten it up a little bit as well. Now this mist here, I want to go back to my RGBs, and I want to adjust this down a little bit more. Back on my planet under layer styles, the outer glow is a little intense still, so I'm going to go ahead and lighten that up a little bit more. Something like that. And that's looking fairly decent right now. I'm actually liking the way this looks. Now this left light over here, I'm going to go ahead, whoops, and simply get that glow onto that side a little bit more. And then I also want to take it up so it's kind of more on the top edge and not so much the bottom edge, just like that. Now I'll go ahead and save this scene here, as it's looking halfway decent right now. Alright, so the next step, guys, is going to be to go ahead and create the asteroids that we're going to need. So I'm going to go to solid, I'm going to name it asteroid, and I'll go ahead and go to effect, video copilot, and element, scene setup, and under the starter pack it actually comes with some different asteroid rocks here. I'm going to go ahead and use rock 02 because it has a tendency to be the most unique in my opinion, but you can always use whatever you like. So I'm going to use this one, and first thing I'm going to do is go to my world transform and drive this position on Z towards the back to be about like that, and then go ahead and scale that up to be about like that. Now the next thing I want to do is go to group 1, open up particle look and particle replicator, and I want to go ahead and change this over to 3D grid. As soon as I do that, you'll see I have a lot more options here, and the first thing I want to do is go ahead and scale this up about like that, and then in the Z scale I want to do it almost a little bit more than double what I had. As you can see, I have done there. Now the next part, guys, is really interesting. So what we're going to do is particle, I think in particle rotation we're actually done for right now, but under shape options, no, replicator effects, there we go. I want to go to scatter, and I want to simply scatter these by different amounts. So I'll go ahead and scatter this one by, say, 25, and then this one here I'll do by 15. I'll do this one here by 10, and this one here I'll do by 30. So it's really randomizing those asteroids right now. Now the next thing I need to do is go ahead and randomize the rotation of these options. So I'm going to go here to particle rotation, and you can see here I have rotation random, and I can go ahead and just rotate all of these, and as you can see they all kind of rotate a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and keyframe all of these rotations, go all the way to the end of the composition, and I want to go ahead and put these values at different amounts, because basically what's going to happen now is as the asteroids actually rotate, and that looks a lot more natural at that point right now. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to go to the particle size, and I want to go to, that's not the one, right here, particle size random. I want to go ahead and put that at about 30 to 40, just kind of randomizing the size. As you can see, they all change there, and they look, you know, different depending on what it is that you're doing. And those lights are looking slightly off, so I'm going to go ahead and go here to my 2 views horizontal, and this one here I'm going to change over to my top view, left light, right light. I don't know if I'll be able to see them or not. But here we can actually go back to the active camera, 1 view, and I want to hold down shift, and on the Z I simply want to adjust these until I get a little bit more definition on those asteroids, which you can see is happening here now. So let's go back to the asteroids once again. We'll close group 1. We'll go down to the render settings and lighting, and we'll turn off use comp lights, and instead we're going to go down to ambient occlusion and turn that on. Now nothing really changes a whole lot, and that's because we need to adjust the gamma and other options that we have available to us in this section. And as we adjust them more and more, you will see that things actually adjust quite a bit for us. So main thing being this intensity here. Let's go ahead and drive that up. And then we just want to get some darker shadows on all of these asteroids here. And we'll go ahead and put this to fast for right now. And we'll go ahead and see if any of these lights look good. Usually they don't look too good. It just really depends on what you're going for and all that. So the spot doesn't look too bad. Spot blue kind of adds a little bit of a bluish color to them. Just really depends on what you're going for. Let's go ahead and go with sun though. Maybe sunset. Nah, sun looks better. So sun, that looks pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and stick with the spot because I think that looks a little bit better and more natural. Next thing we're going to do is go to new and camera. We're going to go ahead and hit OK. It's on a 35mm, which is fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and go up here to my Z-Track camera tool, and let's go back. Okay, I'm on frame 1, so we're going to go ahead and zoom in. Not quite that far. We still want to be able to see the planet. So about like that. Looks pretty good. Go to the transform and the position of interest, and then we're going to go to the end frame, and we're going to simply zoom out of our scene some, so about like that. And that way our camera now moves while everything else is rotating and moving as well. So that looks pretty darn good so far. Next, we're going to go ahead and create a new light, and this is going to be called Asteroid Light. We're going to make this be a orangish color, something like that. I'm going to put the intensity at like 150 for now so we can definitely see what's happening. And as you can see there, it really lit up our planet like crazy. So let's go to the top view here, or two views, and then one of them will change over to the top view here. Now this light is currently in front of everything, but we actually want to drag it we want to drag it so that it's about like this. Alright, so we'll stick there for a second. We're going to go back to our asteroid and put on use comp light, and you'll see there that as we adjust this light now, it will actually be on the asteroids more. So we just need to drive this backwards a little bit more on the Z. So about like that. We'll then go ahead and move this up ever so slightly, and also, whoa, to the right. So my computer's going a little slow. Then we can adjust the brightness of this light to really bring some light into on those asteroids, as you can see there. So we'll leave that there for now. We'll go back to one view again. Make sure that's on active camera. We'll zoom back in. And now we need to go ahead and go back to our asteroids. And it's definitely looking pretty good there. If we go to Ultra, it'll really darken up those asteroids for us. And honestly, it doesn't do too bad. So we're going to go ahead and enable shadows. You don't really need it. We'll just leave it off. It just takes longer to render anyway. And that's looking fairly decent. So we're going to go ahead and just right click, go to new and solid, and we're going to go ahead and call this the sun. Once we've done that, we're going to right click on it, go to Effect, Video Copilot, Optical Flares. We'll go to the options, and we're going to go ahead and choose the light that we want to use. So in this case, I think I want to use something along the lines of this one here. And that looks pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and change this over to a 3D layer. And once we've done that, we need to actually adjust our Z position so that it is like so. We'll then go ahead and change this over to add, and once we've done that, we'll then adjust the position of this light. And our goal is to get it to line up exactly where our other light is emitting from. So there, and then up a little bit like that. Now we're going to go ahead and up the scale of this. So about like that. And actually, let's take it down just a bit, and then we're going to increase the brightness so it actually looks kind of like a sun. I'm not really digging this preset too much, so let's go in through here and let's go try out the real sun one instead. That looks a little bit more realistic. And so something kind of along those lines there. And that's looking pretty good if you ask me. Now this asteroid light, we're going to go ahead and drop this down to say 300, and you'll see the lights kind of come off of the asteroids a little bit because it's just a little bit too bright. So drop that down even more, and that looks pretty good there. So we'll keep that for now. And let's see, new solid. I'm not even sure this is going to work, so real quick, I'm just going to try this. Trap code particular, emitter. We need to go to the Z position. There we go. So we want to bring that to about like that. And then we want to actually, where's the scale at? I guess we'll bring it forward a little bit more. So something kind of like that. Change this over to box, and we'll go ahead and put our emitter size down to say 5, 5, and 5. And the particle here, we're going to change from sphere over to cloudlet. You can see there that what that kind of does. And then we can have this feather amount go up or down depending on what looks best. And once we've done that, we'll go to the shading tab. We'll put the shading, that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for something else. Particle, the second, we'll up that quite a bit. We'll go ahead and change the rotation of these like so, the velocity and the randomness, distribution, and the motion, and we'll drop these all down to like 1. We'll up those. And I'm not sure why the cloudlet's not working. I haven't worked with trap code particular a whole lot. I know it's got to be something in the shading though. So the glow sphere is not too bad. We'll up that feather amount quite a bit, all the way to 100, and then we'll go ahead and change the opacity of this layer down, probably more than that, about like that. And we'll go ahead and rename this to dust. And then we're going to drop that right behind our planet, my bad, which is right there. And we'll drop that down to 5%. And we'll go ahead and drop some curves onto that. And I want to go ahead and go to the RGB, so I'll bring some of that out a little bit more. Whoops, wrong one. I need to go back to RGB. So like that, and then go to tint, drop that on there. Go ahead and select a purplish color for it. And if I go ahead and increase that opacity, you can see it a little bit more. So kind of like that. Now we need to get the color random going a little bit. Actually, not at all, because we don't have the color set from that. So we just want a little bit in there, so maybe like 100. And we'll go ahead and up that velocity a little bit more. And that way now it's kind of emitting over time. And I think that looks fairly decent, guys. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and go to a new adjustment layer. And we're going to go ahead and go to curves. Once again, drop that onto adjustment layer. And that'll just allow us to kind of darken it up and also lighten it up in other ways so the sun comes out a little bit more. It's already looking a little bit more realistic. I'll then go to the, actually, you know what, I can just do it right here. We can go to the blues. We're going to up the blues just a little bit. Why are we not on blue? There we go. So something like that, and that looks pretty good. We're then going to go to Effect, Red Giant Color Suite, Magic Bullet Looks. We'll click on Edit. We'll go over here to Looks. And now we can kind of select the basic look that we are going for our scene. There's not a ton of them in here that I'm really like in love with, but there is, some that we can definitely, mess with and get to look exactly the way that we want. So let's just go ahead for now. Let's go ahead and go with Invasion for now. Let's go ahead and go over here to the tools, vignette, drag that in, and I just want to bring that like so. And then we'll click on finished. It's looking a little bit better. This adjustment layer, let's go ahead and adjust the opacity down to somewhere kind of in the middle like that. We'll then go to Effect, Color Suite, and Mojo. Mojo, and the tint. Now this punch it is the one we're going to want to adjust. That's going to kind of bring stuff in and bring stuff out. We'll go ahead and warm it up a little bit, and then the balance will bring back a little tiny bit like so, and that looks pretty good there. Go ahead and put this on full real quick, and you see there that's looking pretty good for our scene so far. Go ahead and go to new and another adjustment layer, and I'm going to type in ratio, drop that onto it. That's going to put my black bars on there. So now we have our scene as we go through. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and render this out, and then we'll come back. Alright guys, so this thing is almost done rendering out, and then it will play in the background over and over again as I continue to talk. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this lesson. This is just a basic tutorial on how to use After Effects with Elements and some of Video Copilot's other plugins. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel for more. And I will see you guys next time. Here is our completed animation. As you can see, it looks really, really awesome, like it was meant to be, with the asteroids and the planet rotating. I just feel like it really came to life at the end there, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we have all the nebula effects and everything as if we just left the atmosphere. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.